Peace, family. How you doing? It's Mr. R2 here at Consistency is Currency Morning Podcast. Why in the world does it look like I am frozen? But anyway, I'm going to keep it going. I'm going to keep it strong because today is Friday, the very last day of the week. And for some reason, if you find me frozen, just know that I am still moving and I am still talking. And we're going to continue to go and push through this entire program. Why? Because it only makes sense. Because I am not going to allow whatever technology is trying to do, whatever technology is going to do, we're going to make it happen. And we're going to push and we're going to keep it going and keep it growing. So, for everybody who already know the platform, don't worry about the frozen face. For everybody know the platform, we are about what is going to make us consistent, what is going to make us grow. So good morning to everybody that right now is watching on Facebook. Good morning to everybody that's watching on YouTube, and for everyone that is listening on the past platforms, whatever time that you listen to it, I would just say thank you, because I don't know what time you listen to it. I don't know. It tells me where you're listening from as far as a country. It tells me the age demographics on who's listening, male, female, what platform you're listening on. That's all I know. I don't know what time you're listening. So I appreciate you for listening at whatever time it is. But again, good morning to everyone who can see my face, who can see the hat, the blue hoodie, all that stuff, all of that stuff right now. So again, good morning, and I appreciate you 1,000,000%. All right, so this subject was pretty interesting. You know, I've been studying my analytics, studying what what attracts different people, and they want real stuff. You know, not that I don't spit real stuff, but I'm looking at diversifying the content just a little bit. So if you have an idea about particular content that you want me to bring to the table, reach out. You know, give me a little bit of ideas, and then I'll draw in and look at what's best for and what direction that I can go with it. So this is an open platform to where if you want something to where I can communicate about, just reach out. It's too easy. And for those who listen on Anchor, the good thing about Anchor that I like, you're able to click the leave a message part, and you can leave a message. And what I would do is I will play your message like at the beginning of the podcast. So if you have something that touches you or something that you want to say, you can actually click the message part, leave your message, and I will add it. Why? Because I want people to hear about what type of impact that you're receiving from the words that are being said. So again, this is interactive. I want to receive energy just as much as I give energy. So that's how we're going to do it. So again, I thank you. All right. So, oh man, introvert. Peace. Good morning, Trisha. Peace. Good morning, Miss Selena. VA in the house. We got Temple, Texas in the house. So introvert, man. And introverts superpower. So my question right now, are you an introvert or are you an extrovert? So I took a test yesterday, and I already knew I'm naturally an introvert. For those that really know me, know and understand, I would much rather be home or be in my own space instead of being out amongst a lot of people. Although I do speak publicly, I just understand what my mission is. I just understand what my gifts and what my calling is. So I will go out into the population and speak, but I am much naturally in my own environment when I am in a place of solitude, or where my inner peace is best kept when I'm by myself. That's just me being honest. But there are more people that are like me in the same way. Statistics and research has shown that over a third of the population are really introverts. I mean, if you are open enough to say that, then you would know if you are naturally an introvert, or if you're an introvert or not, But what I'll do before this, those that are watching on Facebook and YouTube, what I'll do is I'll drop the link inside the chat when take your own assessment. It didn't take long. It's only like 21 questions to where it asks you, certain things. I mean, I'm gonna drop it. You'll see it, but it will ask you certain questions, and at the end, it say, it'll let you know based off of your questions. I mean, answers, of course. Are you an introvert or are you an extrovert? So I'm gonna put that in before we get off. So let's go ahead and jump into it. But I do want to say one thing before we just uh, jump 2 feet into it. Especially to you parents. Of course, we as adults, we were once children. Um, when we were brought up, we were always told, go out there and make a new friend. Go talk. Go do this. Go do that. If you don't know the spirit of your child, you can push your child into something that your child may not be built to do or your child is not prepared for because you're forcing them to be you or what you feel or what society has told you a child should do or what a child should be. Just because I'm not speaking when you want me to speak, that doesn't necessarily mean I don't know how to talk. Just because your child is not overly joyed when they're around large groups of people doesn't necessarily mean your child has a problem. That means your child communicates different than the people that are around them. And because they don't communicate the same as the people that are around them doesn't necessarily mean your child has a problem with speaking in front of people. No, your child probably only speak to the people that they are comfortable with or speak around the people that they are comfortable with communicating with. So that doesn't necessarily mean your child has a problem. That means your child speaks when your child has the ability to trust the community of people that they are around and how they communicate and when they communicate. All right, so I'm gonna leave that alone. We're gonna try. I just had to put that disclaimer out there because a lot of times, it's the parent or the guardian or what people may deem as society or the population of people to push something or someone in a way that they were not designed to be. And that you can actually pop that child or that person off course, and then that person then begins to find themselves, and then that's how they begin to get back on course and in line and in a place and a position to they where they were supposed to be, but they had to go the scenic route because you forced them or you strive to change the parts of them to ultimately try to be something that you thought that they were supposed to be. Everyone is born to do something, and then they will find what that something is when it is their time to find that. All right, that alone. You can take that however you want to take it. If that's you, the parent that's pushing your child to be an extrovert because you are extrovert and you're trying to push that on them, you will pay for it and you will hear it when they get the courage to say that, mommy, I didn't really like that, but I learned more about me when. You're going to hear it. So, all right, we're going to leave that alone. All right, an introvert superpower. Now, if there's something that resonates with you as you see it, go ahead and put that in the chat. Why? Because not just from the algorithm perspective, but because there is someone that may be watching what you're saying that may get, something from your reply, or you may be able to learn something based off of what somebody else said. So again, this is going to be interactive because we want to acknowledge and open the doors to the superpowers of an introvert. All right, so let's get into it. Here we go. Let's get ready. I hate the way this thing is freezing up sometime, but as long as you can hear me, the words are going to come out of my mouth and it's going to feed your conscious individual. And I hope that the nutrients of the food that has been provided to you is actually going to feed the hunger that you have of information. All right, an introvert superpower. Now, I want to start with this definition because a lot of times we as people or parents, we as individuals, we totally miss the mark when it comes to someone or something that is considered shy, and you push shyness down that person's throat or down that child's throat or to push it in somebody's face. That doesn't necessarily mean that person is shy. That person may just be introverted because they open up when they're ready to open up, but you want to push something on them that's not them. So that's why I'm starting with the definition of the word shy. Shy is what has been said as easily frightened, timid, disposed to avoid a person or thing, uh publicity shy, person or thing publicity shy, hesitant in committing oneself. How many of you have heard someone say, oh, they're shy, or that person is timid? Now there are people who are timid. There are people who are hesitant to commit themselves, but a lot of times we confuse shyness with being an introvert. Shyness is a response to something that has been pushed, or a response to an experience that that person may have just gone through, or what that person is being diverted away from. So again, the shy is easily frightened, timid, disposed to avoid a person or thing, publicity shy, hesitant in committing oneself. I'm gonna leave that alone. I was gonna jump into it, but I'm not. I mean, you can dive however you want to dive. Put your put your swimming goggles on and put your your bathing suit and jump into that water when you're ready. That's going to be completely up to you. But stop confusing people spirit of them being introvert with shy. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm as a child, even as an adult, um people would say, "Oh, he's shy. Oh, he hardly talks." No, I speak to who I want to speak to. I speak to who I feel comfortable with communicating with. I speak to those who I am spiritually attached to, and then I will speak at that time because I know that is the time to speak. Don't confuse being timid with in my timing of communication. So don't confuse when your child is ready to speak to those who they feel comfortable with communicating with. That means your child has a natural spiritual ability to know and who to speak to when it is that time for that person or that child to speak. So don't confuse that, because when you confuse that, you may alter the way that person communicates, or you may alter when that person feels that it is time to communicate, because you're pushing something on them that they're not ready to do, or something that they have yet to groom and to mature. I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm gonna leave that for you parents to figure out, or I'm gonna leave that for you adults to figure out when to speak. Because I did a poem a long time ago, years ago, and in this line I said, "The wise know when to speak. The ignorance, he always speaks. That's why he get chastised by the meek." So being wise and using your wisdom tells you when it is time for you to speak. So you're going to learn from that. All right. So let's go with the definition of introvert. So again, for those that are new to the platform, we read the definition and then I invert it and give it kind of a new twist. So by definition, is saying an introvert is a person who prefers calm environments, limits social engagement, or embraces a greater than average preference for solitude. So this inversion is red over white. So the definition is now being viewed as a person who prefers environments of limited social engagement and embrace the preference of solitude. That is a new art. That is how I see it. Again, I'm gonna read what the definition said, but we're gonna tap into how people communicate now in 2020. Again, the definition says a person who prefers calm environments, limit social engagement, or embraces a greater than average preference of solitude. And the inversion, a person who prefers environments, limited social engagement, embraces preference of solitude. That means if I prefer environments where I have limited social interactions and I embrace, that means I acknowledge, that means that I am okay where I am. So I have a preference of solitude. That is telling you that I have the ability to come out, or you have the ability to come out and expose yourselves to new things when you feel that the environment is suitable for you to communicate. It is not force. Why? Because you know the who that you are, you embrace the who that you are, and you give yourself limited social engagements. That doesn't necessarily mean that I don't want to be around you or I don't want to be in this space with you, but I am allowing the limited engagement because I embrace the who that I am. All right. The first superpower, the first superpower that an introvert possess is the power of self reflect. The power of self reflect. So, what are we talking about? So, the power of self reflect is that they have the ability or the tendency to inwardly look at themselves and reflect what they find. So, it's not about you. It's not about, because remember what we spoke about yesterday when we were talking about self whatever, whether it's self reflect or self discipline or self reliant. Self is the possession, those who understand the mission of what they're doing. You are upholding the who is responsible for what. So that's what the self is for. And the reflection is the potential. So if it is a self reflection, that means that I am responsible for the potential of the reflections that I have. Because not all the time that I am going to reflect things, but I have the potential of self reflecting when I look inwardly at who I am and not worry about the outward points of view that other people may see. So because that a introverted person understands their assignment, that means they have the ability to reflect the and because you have the ability to reflect, that means that you are okay with course correction. Your child is okay with course correction because they're going to sell. It may take them time to sit down and say, you know what? Now, this is them talking inside their head, not you pushing something on them or not you allowing someone to push things on you. You have the ability to self reflect because you are taking your time with your thoughts. And because you know that your thoughts fuel your consequence, then you have the power to self reflect and then take that small course corrections and shift and go in a direction that is purposeful to you. So a person that is an introvert, because remember, we're not talking about you saying someone is shy. That means that person sits down and it is inside the thoughts of them, the self-reflection, the inside of thoughts of them to course correct the things that they know that they need to change. It don't take you to open your mouth all the time to push something into someone, because if that introvert is ready to course correct, they are ready to course correct only because they have took the power of self-reflection. Not you running your mouth about it, but the power of course correction. And the next thing is, oh man, this thing tripping. Hold on. Excuse me. We gonna make it happen. I ain't worried about it. I'm still gonna get it out. All right. The development of meaningful purpose. The development of meaningful purpose. What are we talking about here? So the superpower of a meaningful purpose that an introvert possess is they are building rapport. You ever have an introverted child, like, I don't know, he always seemed like he or she is to themselves, but they they understand who they are, because those introverts, they favor deeper conversations over those superficial ones that has no meaning at all, because there are more there they have more meaning about real things than the surface things that people like to commit themselves to. They want things that lower the barriers, but they want to create more memorable and shared experiences. So they would develop meaningful purposes through the rapport and the relationships that they find themselves in. And when they trust you, and then they have the ability to develop something meaningful with you, you will have a much deep rooted relationship and a meaningful relationship with them, because they find a or because they find or found a meaningful purpose to be around you. That's why your child communicates with certain people in certain settings, because they found something meaningful and something purposeful in that situation or in that environment. Remember what we said earlier, when you embrace the solitude. So when you're in that environment that you feel okay to be in, that's when that experience becomes meaningful to them. It becomes very meaningful. And the next thing is the superpower is the inner motivation. You got a child that doesn't really require a lot of attention, or you have a person on a job that doesn't require a lot of attention, but yet they get the most work done. That's crazy, right? That is because that person understands, one, their abilities. Like we said yesterday, you have capabilities and capacity, but because that person understands their capabilities, they will maximize their capacity, because they understand that there is a inner motivation that they have, not a outwardly stimulating environment that gets them to do certain things, but they require less stimulation, because the solitude gives them their stimulates them the best. So because of their inner motivation, that means that individual who drives them is them. It doesn't mean you drive them. That means that inside of them, that is their innate ability. Inside of them is who motivates them to do better and do greater. Because remember, if they have the self-reflection of a course correct, so inside of them internally is the motivation that they need to make things better. Because when they do things that make things better for them, it actually in turn make things better for you. Whether you are a leader, an employee, or you are a leader in a leadership role, that person that is a introvert, if you empower that inner motivation, it will actually allow them to get more work done, or it allows a group to be that much more productive, only because you have empowered their innermost being. It completely changes the game, because they don't dwell on the expectations of others. They push the envelope of their expectations of themselves, and it just make it stronger. And again, don't don't mistake inner motivation with shyness. Don't do that, because you're going to make it harder for that introverted person to open back up to you again, because remember, we talk about meaningful purpose. So if I have, or if we have developed the meaningful purpose on why we work together or why we do what we do, allow that inner motivation to be the motivation of the why. So if you mistaken that as shyness, then you're really pushing that person away, or you have the ability to push that person away or push that person down. Don't mistake in that. Don't mistake inner motivation with shyness. There are a lot of people that are self-motivators. There are a lot of people that does not require a lot of the attaboys, or don't require a lot of the patting on the back to say you did a great job. They don't require a lot of that. A lot of times you giving them space is could possibly be the most empowering thing that you can do for them. You can say, "Hey, good job," and keep moving. You don't have to sit there and pat them on the back and, "Hey, you're doing a good job." You don't have to do that, because their inner motivation is going to do that. Got it? Good. All right. So number 4, in their superpower is their natural creativity, meaning they naturally have the ability to unlock their imaginations and let the contents flow freely through their consciousness. They are so in tune and in touch with their creative being, and they're so in tune and in touch with the things that comes natural to them, because they are going to be in tune with their gifts, those innate abilities that they do so freely that they find things maybe easier for them to do because it's not pressured. It comes natural. Singing comes natural. Drawing comes natural. Creating content comes natural. I can shift from this vision to the goal to the manifestation of it. And then the next week, I can try something different. It doesn't necessarily mean I'm confused. No, I am naturally creative. So therefore, I am going to do and I'm going to execute my inner motivation, or that introvert is going to execute what's in them, and it's going to have an outwardly approach. So they're going to be tapping in to their inner abilities and be naturally creative. That is what is going to allow you as a leader, or you as a parent, to understand how to empower that introverted child, or how to empower that introverted employee. And the last superpower, I love it, especially those who are introverted as adults. Man, we so cool with just being in our space that we can become so immune to boredom. You got the extrovert, like during quarantine, man, they felt like it was killing them. Like, oh, it's so bored. Oh, I'm in the house and I'm bored. Man, an introverted person would be like, I'm not, I'm cool. Find something to do. I can find something to do. I can sit here and self reflect and be okay in my skin. I can sit here and self reflect and be all right, because it doesn't matter what situation that they find themselves in, they have the ability to create from mental stimulation. I mean, it's like, wow, I thought of something. I'm gonna go do it. But an extroverted person might be, man, I thought of something and I'm limited to go do it because I don't have this. Like, what? You do have something that you can do. You're just confusing yourself on the process that you want to go about doing it. And you could probably put an introvert in an empty room with no windows. You can then take the door away. You can turn the lights out. And don't you know that introverted person will still find it quite easy to find something to do? That introvert will still find something to do. But that's when you understand the who that they are. That's when you understand how they develop. That's when you understand how to nurture that introverted person, because that introverted person does have superpowers. A lot of times we don't groom that. We see that as a problem, or we may identify that as a deficiency, that that child or that person is just not with the times, or that child or that person is just not, you just want to be different. Lo, that child is different. So the conversation and the communication that you have with that child, you have to understand the nature of the child, because again, we talked about natural creativity. So because there is a natural creativity, then you must create a nurturing connectivity. You must connect with them and nurture those things that is going to make them a lot more suitable as adults. Some of the most powerful in the beings, whether in the business world or the arts world, whatever, a lot of them were introverts. Elon Musk, introvert. Bill Gates, introvert. Because a lot of times we're so tapped into our natural spiritual being that we understand what our place is, not just in society, but we understand what our place is within ourselves. All right, that's enough. Went over today. But it's okay to be an introvert, whether you're an adult or you're a child. It's okay. I'm gonna tell you that right now. It's okay. Don't allow anyone to tell you that there is something wrong with you, because hey, with being in solitude. Because if that's your safe space, if that's your safe place, then you be okay with that. And you harness that and you hold on to that. Because when you acknowledge that and you are consistent at being in that safe space, it would then ultimately create currency, because you understand the who that you are. All right, you guys be blessed. I'll see you on Mondays 30 right here at the morning podcast. Consistency is currency. You guys be blessed. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you in the morning of Monday. Peace.